I was able to take time off. I've worked for myself. I took almost a whole 8 months off. I bought a truck and a travel trailer. I spent 3 months. Did a full circle around the whole United States, went to all the national parks, got to travel, spent a month going through Europe, spent a couple weeks in Costa Rica, and real estate will give you that ability to be able to go do that if you set it up and you set it up properly. I haven't found anything else that gives me that kind of time.
Welcome to the Real Freedom Show, where we inspire you to pursue your passion to gain time and financial freedom through opportunities in real estate. I'm your host, Mike Swenson. Let's get some real freedom together. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Real Freedom, Real Estate Leverage Freedom, where we talk about building time and financial freedom through opportunities in real estate. I'm your host, Mike Swenson. If you want to get started on your real estate investing journey, check out our website, freedomthroughrealestate.com. That's freedomthroughrealestate.com. We've got some great content there, videos, articles to read to help you in the next step of your real estate investing journey. For today's guest, we have a wonderful story. As we talk about so many times, real estate doesn't have to be the central part of everybody's story, but entrepreneurial type people often have it be one step of that process. And so Justin Martinez is here to share about his life, how real estate is helping out, and the other things he's working. So just a quick background about him. In the Army, deployed in Afghanistan, business and entrepreneurship degree, master's in real estate development, got into doing short-term rentals in Tennessee, doing flips as well, and then really got serious about your fitness journey. Did 75 hard for 4 consecutive cycles in a year. Now you're doing marathons, half marathons, triathlons, and all that, doing fitness coaching in addition to what you're doing in real estate. So lots of great stuff to cover, Justin. We're so excited to have you on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You certainly accomplished a lot, but yeah, just give us a little bit more of a background and kind of your journey into real estate, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so he did a pretty good job of evaluating. I was in the military. When I was in the Army, I did a lot of hardcore stuff. I was an Army Ranger, went through a lot of schooling, was very structured, very rigorous, very controlling. And I knew I had a free spirit, but I really learned that in the military, I don't like just being hammered down what to do all day, every day. So I knew getting out, I was on a journey to become an entrepreneur, to work for myself, start my own adventures. And luckily, I had a good knowledge of money and finance and how to spend it and allocate it. So after getting out of the military, I decided to go to Arizona State University. They had a really awesome entrepreneurship program where I actually spent my entire undergrad starting businesses and doing cool things. This is also where I got involved in real estate for the first time. I knew going back to being financially savvy, I knew I did not want to pay to live. Keep this in mind. I'm 31 years old. I've never paid to live anywhere. Never once have I ever paid to live anywhere. And so I knew that I didn't want to at the time. So I started looking up properties in the area, and I found a house that was just a couple miles off campus. It had a pool and it had 4 bedrooms. And that's what I was looking for. So I was able to rent rooms out for about almost $600 a month, more than what my mortgage was for the entire time I was in my undergrad. And so upon graduating from my undergrad, not only did I cash flow about $20,000 over those years, I was able to sell that property for $78,000 tax-free profit because it was my primary residence. And that's what really started the ball and kind of got me down my further into the real estate journey.
I love that because I was kind of a rule follower throughout school. It's like you kind of feel like this is what you have to do. This is the path I'm supposed to take. And you take a look at it and say, wait a minute, but I can do something completely different that's going to change the path of my financial future. And so, I highly recommend for people that if there's a way where, yeah, you can have a rental property through college and have your friends paying you rent, there's a lot of good opportunities out there. And so congratulations to you to recognize that and to be able to act on that in college.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was cool. They would make jokes like, "Oh man, we're just paying your mortgage." It's like, yeah, you are. Thank you. But no, it's a smart thing for if you're younger, if you're single, if you don't have a family, or even if you do have a family. The next primary home I purchased, I didn't want people all up in my business, so I bought a house in a very good location that had a really built out mother-in-law guest house in the back. And I chose a location. It was Scottsdale, Arizona. And I knew I could charge for that unit in the back what my mortgage was. So it covered my mortgage and I was living again for free. I ended up renting out a couple of the bedrooms out to some buddies because I was in South Scottsdale and I got $800 a piece. So now my mortgage is covered from the back unit. I'm making $1,600 a month on the main house and I'm living for free. You know, we're making over $16,000 a year and you get to live for free. So house hacking, it's the way to go.
So talk about kind of what happened after that and how you kind of got started into the short-term rental business.
Absolutely. So, again, having that entrepreneurial mindset throughout college, I had started a healthy vending machine company. I had over 15 locations. I was kind of running and operating. I ran door-to-door sales teams. And it was just always hustling, saving my money. I was always, saving that money. I just graduated with my undergrad. I had my biggest summer in door-to-door sales. If you're really good at door-to-door sales, you run teams, you can make pretty good money. I made about 120 grand in 3 months knocking doors. And then I sold that first house for like I said, a $78,000 tax-free profit. And I had some money saved. So I had about $250,000 saved up and I'm only, 26, 27 at the time. And my buddy, one of my mentors was like, hey man, I just bought a cabin in the Smoky Mountains in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. You should buy one. And he kept telling me. And then finally I was like, let me see the numbers. I looked at the numbers, called him up and said, yeah, bro, I should probably buy a cabin in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And so that's what started that. I bought my first Airbnb. It was pretty turnkey. It was already an Airbnb. I purchased it. I put maybe about $8,000 into it, just kind of spruced it up a little bit, swapped out some TVs for smart TVs, kind of fixed it up, and it was cash flowing. It started cash flowing like crazy. And this was in 2020. I bought it. I literally closed on it March 5th, 2020. If any of you remember, it was like April 10th of 2020, the world shut down. So by the time I finished it, renovated it, I launched it on Airbnb. Within 5 days of being on Airbnb, the world shut down. I was like, what did I do? I just wasted all my money. That being said, I spent the 3-month quarantine in my brand new cabin in the Smoky Mountains. So I was hot tubbing every day, playing games. Like I loved it. And so that's when I decided to go back to school to get my master's in real estate development because I figured I need to pivot here. So I bought that. I then went and bought the house in Scottsdale, Arizona. And then the market by then, after about 3 months, started picking up and it exploded here. We ended up having 2020 was the biggest year this market had in the last 20 years. People were tired of quarantining, but they were still scared to go out in public. So they said, instead of staying at home, let's just rent a cabin in the woods. So it blew up for us. I ended up buying a third property that year in 2020, another cabin. But this is where I found a niche. A lot of people fix and flip properties. I got into fixing and flipping Airbnbs. So if you've been active in real estate for a while, you'll also remember mid 2020 is when things just went insane real estate wise. Interest rates were still down in the mid to low threes. They were a sub 4%. They were skyrocketing like crazy. So every turnkey property in this market that was popping up for sale, especially with the explosion they were having and the numbers on the rentals, was just within 20 minutes, it would have 10 offers over asking. And it was just, cash offers. And it was hard to compete with these guys. I learned two things. One, I learned how to really structure a financing offer to compete with cash offers. There's a lot of cool tricks that I had no idea that I did some research, found out, cool things that I like to teach my clients when I coach them on real estate, how you can actually beat cash offers with a financed offer. And so cool things with that. But what I also found was the non-turnkey properties. So there were cabins that were popping up for sale that people were trying to sell and capitalize on the booming economy, but they were not set up for overnight rentals and they were far from it. And so the investors weren't looking at these. I just graduated with my master's degree. I'm single. I'm 28. I'm ready to take on the world. So I decided to start buying these properties. So I would buy one. I would physically move into it. And then I would invest, 50 to 100 grand into it. I'm talking building mini golf courses, pool tables, air hockey tables, game rooms, just pimping them out. And then as soon as I would finish, I'd launch it, buy the next one, move into it and do it again. And it was crazy. I had two properties. I'll never forget these two properties in 2020 that I bought for $500,000 a piece. I put $80,000 into each of them. I put them on Airbnb for 6 months. I got my $80,000 in rents back out of each of them. So I'm in them for 500,000. And within 6 months, I sold one for 850,000 and the other one for 950,000 within 6 months of purchasing them. So that was where I was doing is fix and flipping Airbnbs, which was awesome. And yeah, so that really got the catalyst started to where I am now. So Airbnbs, it's a good game. It's a good hustle. It's dying down a little bit, but if you find the right markets, there's still some good money to be made in Airbnb. And I had actually started a consulting business, consulting people on their Airbnbs on what they should do to them to maximize their revenues.
Yeah, and obviously where you're at, there's a lot of vacationers, a lot of people that are going there in the summers. I suppose probably in the winters too, being, far enough south where it's a little less chilly. That's the thing. Each market for short-term rentals is a little bit different, and learning how to compete in that market, learning how to succeed in that market, learning what people are going to want to have in their booking, really important. And you did a fantastic job with that.
Absolutely. Super crucial. It's like a lot of people, cheap out on the little things. It's like, yeah, putting a 32-inch TV in a bedroom. It's too small of a TV. Spend the extra. Literally, TVs are so cheap. That was one of the biggest hacks I found is TVs are, you could buy a 65-inch TV for like $400. Walmart has this special Hisense 58-inch TV for like $249. They're so cheap. Just put bigger TV, put at minimum a 43-inch TV in all bedrooms. Any major living room, den, any major sitting TV location should be a 65-inch TV. Every property had hot tubs. I put a 58-inch TV right at all the hot tubs. And that was one of my top reviews. After a day of hiking in the Smokies, coming back, sitting in the hot tub and watching a movie with the family was like one of the biggest reviews I got. And so, so many people go so cheap on these little things. You might save a couple $100 here and there, but you're losing thousands, tens of thousands in the long run by not being able to up your prices and compete at the market rental rates.
So yeah, talk about kind of what ended up happening then after going through fixing up, flipping your short-term rentals.
Yeah. So I did that for about a year and a half. And so during that year and a half, I was, again, I was single, just me and my dog. I was living in cabins in the woods in the Smoky Mountains by myself for a while. So, it started to get a little monotonous. And I also got really out of shape. There's no gyms. I was drinking a lot of beer. When you work for yourself, you kind of work living in the home you're working on, 2:00 in the afternoon, you're like, I'm gonna just crack a beer. You start drinking, have fun, work on your stuff. So I started getting really out of shape. And really, I gained about 35 pounds. And this will lead into my later journey. But yeah, so I decided, I kind of want to start transitioning out of that. So I just stepped away from that. I kept the properties that I had and was renting them out. And then I just was looking at the numbers. I was looking at the market, and I seen the numbers going down. I seen the rents kind of dropping a little bit. I seen the pricing dropping a little bit. The thing I did to set myself apart was I renovated them so well and did put enough amenities, and the mini golf courses were awesome. I literally hand built myself mini golf courses, like really nice ones at all the properties. So even though all the other rents were dropping, mine were still holding pretty good, but they were above all the other rents. And so I was looking at the numbers and I was like, hey man, I can still sell all these and make a pretty good dime. So I decided to sell off all the Airbnbs and kind of just get out of that whole game. Now here I am sitting with, pretty good chunk of change in the bank. And this is where I'm, within the last 6 months, I've been starting to transition over to, regular conventional fix and flips, because now I have the cash to be able to purchase properties cash, which it's a whole nother ball game when you have cash on properties, because now you can buy the dilapidated properties that the banks won't finance on. You don't really care what interest rates are doing. In fact, when you're a cash buyer, you want interest rates to go up, because then it makes other people stop buying properties. The sellers start freaking out, thinking that they're not going to get their money out of the property. The property's sitting on the market for months on end. So you come in cash and you throw them just a low offer. You don't care if you get it or not. And sometimes they'll say, you know what? Yeah, we'll take your offer. So cash is king in a high interest rate market, and that I have learned drastically. So that has really opened up Pandora's box to what I'm able to do. And so yeah, now it's fixing and flipping, and I got a couple projects in the works right now, and eventually working my way. I'm going to do some of these flips until I have a good chunk of capital, get into the multifamily and to the buy, hold, long-term hold kind of avenue of the real estate world.
Well, and what I love about your story is you're just kind of going with the flow, right? You're kind of looking
Yeah.
at what's the opportunity that's out there? What am I passionate about doing? And then adjusting and moving on to the next thing. And so, as we talk about building time and financial freedom through real estate, that's exactly what you're doing is you've built something, you've adapted, you've changed, cash being fantastic now with the rates what they are. And so you pivoted out of the short-term rentals into more of the conventionals, going single family, eventually growing into more multifamily. So yeah, you get a chance to kind of dictate what you want to do and how you want to do it because of kind of the track record of what you've done in the past.
Yeah, real estate's really freeing. I learned this. My uncle used to always tell me before I went off to college, he said, your network is your net worth. If you get nothing out of college, just network. And that's 100% true. I met my mentor who took me into door-to-door sales. He's also the same mentor who got me into buying cabins in Gatlinburg. And he's a huge reason why I am where I am today. But I've spent a lot of time networking and talking to multi-millionaires and very successful people. And I have yet to find someone who's worth more than $5 million, even really more than $2 million, that doesn't have somewhat of a real estate portfolio. Like, I mean, unless they are some hedge fund CEO or some crazy, business, everyone's got some real estate avenues and portfolios. It's, if you set it up, it can be very passive. When I was doing the Airbnbs, it wasn't as passive at the time when I was renovating them. But when I stepped away and they were on Airbnb, I had my maintenance crews, my cleaners. It's about, and I was making, $280,000, $300,000 a year. And I wasn't having to literally do anything, a couple messages here and there. So that's about as passive, good money as it can get is Airbnb. If you get the right properties, the right locations, the right cleaning crews and everything like that. And so upon selling those properties, I was like, you know what? I got all this money in the bank and I was able to, speaking of time, you talk about time, I was able to take time off. I've worked for myself. I took almost a whole 8 months off. I bought a truck and a travel trailer. I spent 3 months. I did a full circle around the whole United States. Went to all the national parks, got to travel, spent a month going through Europe, spent a couple of weeks in Costa Rica, and real estate will give you that ability to be able to go do that. If you set it up and you set it up properly, I haven't found anything else that gives me that kind of time.
Real estate agents, are you tired of letting the busyness of life get in your way from achieving your real estate investing goals? I'm super excited to announce we've created the Real Freedom Investor Agent Tribe. It's a place for you to come, get educated, and network with others so that you can make sure that you're hitting your real estate investment goals. So find out more on our website, realfreedom.com. Click on the store link. We've got a membership, we've got a mastermind group, and some private coaching as well. Check it out. I've priced it super low. The goal is to get you in, not have price be a determining factor to keep you from your goals. So come check it out, schedule a call with me, and we're happy to see where your real estate journey is going to take you. Talk about the health journey then, because obviously that's a big part of what you've done most recently. And so how did you transition into that and what are you doing?
Great question. So this is honestly where my passion really, real estate's a huge passion of mine, but it's not full time. Like I said, if you set it up right, it's pretty passive. Even right now, I got my fix and flips going. You buy the properties, you get your contractors in line, you tell them what you want done. They do the work. You check up on them, as often as you want. Every couple of days, you go pop in, say what's up. So I need something to fill my full-time time. And so, I've always been a very in shape person. I was an Army Ranger, did all that stuff, stayed in shape all through college. I was in pretty good shape all the way up until moving to the, cabins in the woods where, and this is where I was telling you, I gained like 35 pounds, was super out of shape. And, one day it was New Year's of last year, 23. And I just looked in the mirror and I was like, I was tired of what I just hated what I saw. I didn't like what I was seeing. I was overweight. I was hungover. I was fat, lethargic. I just hated where I was at in life. So my buddy hit me up and said, let's do 75 hard. If you don't know what that is, look it up, reach out to me after this. I'd be more than willing to talk to you about it. It's a great program. I think everyone should go through it because it doesn't just help you physically, it helps you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's a great program. And so I did that for 75 days and I took it very serious. I lost like 30 pounds, got really back in shape, and it was really awesome. So then we decided to do it again. This time we decided to train for something. So I was like, well, I've done running before. Me and my buddy decided to train for a triathlon. So trained for a triathlon that summer. I did a triathlon, and then that triathlon was in California, and I had to get from here to California. So this is when I decided to do my road tripping. I was like, well, I'm going to drive to California. Well, you know what? I'm going to just drive everywhere, all over the United States. And I bought a truck and travel trailer and drove to California to do this race. And then I ended up doing races all across the country, triathlons and all stuff. And people were watching me. I was posting on Instagram and social media, and people were just like, dude, I love what you're doing. You're so inspiring. And I wasn't trying to do that. I was just showing people what I was doing. And then this whole concept of like, man, there's really a market out there of people who want to live this kind of life. They want to be financially free. They want to be in shape. They want to lose weight. They want to live they want to maximize and live life, because you only have one life. You should want to maximize it and live every single day to the fullest. 95% of Americans, really the world, will never live to their full potential. And so, yeah, after my road trip, I decided, I ended up working my way to half Ironmans and just really going all out. And so people kept reaching out to me, and that's when I decided to kind of launch my newest venture, which is compound effect coaching. And the reason why, I love that term, the compound effect, is, you've always heard about compound interest, how, you put $100 in the bank, and then that makes interest, and that becomes a bigger number, and you make interest on your interest on your interest on your interest. Well, I'm a huge proponent of the actions you take today will determine how you live tomorrow. And so every decision you make today will determine your life tomorrow, whether that's a good decision or a bad decision. It will determine how you live tomorrow. So the compound effect is making the right choices today that your future self will thank you for. And that is my whole mindset, in trying to teach people and understand, real estate often is a long-term play. Fitness is a long-term play. And so that's really where I'm at now, is living by example and teaching people to make decisions today that their future selves will thank them for. Don't look at the short-term game, play the long-term game.
You mentioned about the 75 hard, and this is even true. It doesn't have to be the 75 hard, but just in general, kind of taking care of your body, taking care of what you're eating, that sort of thing, how that can really impact you in all those different areas of life. So the mentally, the spiritually, obviously the physically, professionally. So talk about how you saw that growth by being consistent and disciplined in that program.
Absolutely. And that is a great question, because it's all interconnected. I truly believe how you do one thing is how you do everything. It's just how life works. I just went to a 10X growth conference down in Miami with Grant Cardone. There was about 5,000 people there. And these tickets are pretty expensive to get into. And I sat up in the premier level seating. So these are expensive tickets. And I got to go to special networking events, and there's a couple things I noticed. All right. All these people here that have the, disposable income to spend on an event like this, time to go to an event like this, businesses that they want to grow to go to an event like this, they all had relatively good looking health. They all looked relatively in good shape. They were all clean cut, manicured, looked good, just look good, feel good kind of mentality. And it really just goes to show, like, one of my things I do is I'm brutally honest with people. And in a world of people who coddle you and cozy you, I will not do that. I'll tell you brutally honest. If you are fat, eat like crap, out of shape, do not take care of yourself, you will probably run your company the same way. Your relationships will be the same way. And they all just kind of, it's a trickle down effect. And so if you learn to take pride in your own self, then you will take pride in everything else in your life. If you can set a routine, you wake up on time, two things you should do right when you wake up. You should wake up when you said you're going to wake up. So if you set an alarm the night before that alarm goes off, you get up. All right. If you snooze that alarm or you don't get up when that alarm goes off, you've literally already failed the first task of the day, which is going to set you on a trajectory to continue failing tasks the rest of the day. So when you wake up, you get up to that freaking alarm. Even if you wake up and you're like, damn, I shouldn't have set it this early. Doesn't matter. Wake up. 2, you make your bed. If you can't make your bed, you can't run a business. I mean, it's just that simple. It's so you wake up, you make your bed, and these little habits that you do just kind of trickle down. And that's what 75 hard really does for you. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's just 5 tasks you have to do every day for 75 days. You have to work out twice a day, minimum 45 minutes each, and one workout has to be outside. You have to read 10 pages of a book every single day. You have to drink a gallon of water every single day. You have to take a daily photo of yourself every single day. And you have to pick a very strict diet, stick to it, and absolutely no alcohol. All right. And this is these 5 things you got to do every single day. If you fail to do any task on any given day, it's the honesty system. You start over from day 1. You do it for 75 days. So I did it for four times last year. So, 75, 150, like 300 of my days last year were all 75 hard. So this year I dedicated to doing 365 hard. So I'm doing it for the entire year. No alcohol, gave up all stimulants, nothing, no tobacco, no caffeine, no nothing. And so if you could get disciplined to take care of your life, you'll be more disciplined in all avenues of your work. If you just wake up, you're always constantly almost late to work, you show up and work is just a 9 to 5 for you, and you just check that box and then you go home, you're never going to scale up in life. So take care of yourself, go to the gym, look good, feel good, and then you'll start performing better at work. You might get a promotion. You might get this. A lot of my clients come to me and they're like, hey, I don't really want to start a business, but I want to make more money. Well, go show your company value. Go provide value to whoever you're working for in life. And if there's no room for growth, that's fine. If you want to be a 9 to 5, go find another 9 to 5 where you can talk to your boss and say, hey, if I come in, I do X, Y, and Z, and I generate more revenue, I want to grow. And so you should constantly Kaizen, constant incremental growth throughout your life. And so having disciplines and habits will help you do that, guaranteed.
Wow. That was awesome. Well said in so many ways. And yeah, there's a lot of valuable lessons here for people that are listening, just in terms of how to make improvements, how to be stronger in your business, how to be stronger in your health, and how all of those things affect each other. So yeah, Justin, awesome job. You're doing some really great things, both in real estate and outside of real estate, and just building and growing your life. So for people that want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Either Instagram or my website. You can go to my Instagram is Compound Effect Coaching. That's simple, at Compound Effect Coaching. And then my website is cecoaching.coach. So Charlie Echo coaching.coach. And honestly, anyone who clicks on this and follow or, reaches out to me via this, I do a freebie. Like, I'll give you your free macros. I'll tell you what you should be eating, how you should be eating it, what you should eat every single day. And literally, like, I would love to help you lose weight. Jump on a call. I don't charge for a phone call. And I'll talk to you for 10, 20 minutes. And, you want to talk about real estate. You want to talk about, what you should be doing fitness wise. If you listen to this podcast and you're a supporter of the podcast, we all appreciate that. So I'd be more than happy to give you a free consultation to whatever you want to talk about in life. So cecoaching.coach and Compound Effect Coaching on Instagram.
Well, thank you so much, Justin, for sharing your story. It's inspiring to hear how much you've accomplished in such a short amount of time, too, and you still have a lot left ahead of you. So congratulations on what you're doing, and best of luck to you in the future.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.